Floating topic bubbles.
Grammar, fluency, speaking, listening.
Have you ever been in a conversation? Someone asks you something in English and suddenly you freeze. Your heart beats faster, your brain feels empty, and even though you know some English, nothing comes out. You open your mouth, you try, but the words just don't come. And you stand there in silence, wishing the floor would open up and swallow you whole.
That moment of silence, that feeling of being stuck, that's not a grammar problem. That's not a vocabulary problem. That is fear. And today, we are going to talk about the real reason you stay silent. And more importantly, what you can do about it. Because you deserve to speak. You have things to say, and the world needs to hear your voice.
Welcome to Speak English with Learn. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Liam. And this is a conversation that can change everything for you. Not just your English, not just your speaking, but your confidence, your self-belief, the way you see yourself as a communicator in this world.
Let me tell you about a student. Let's call him Rafi. Rafi studied English for 6 years. 6 years! He knew grammar rules that most native speakers have never even heard of. He practiced vocabulary every single day. Flashcards, apps, notebooks full of new words. He watched English movies with subtitles. He read English news articles. He even kept a journal in English. By every measurement, Rafi was a good student, a dedicated student, a student who truly wanted to learn.
So what happened? With all that preparation, what went wrong?
One day, Rafi had a job interview, a real opportunity, a company he had dreamed of working for. He prepared for weeks. He researched the company. He practiced his answers in front of the mirror every morning. He rehearsed every possible question. The interviewer was polite, professional, and friendly. And then he asked Rafi one simple question. Tell me about yourself. Just 5 words. Rafi knew the answer. He had prepared it 50 times. He had it memorized word for word. But at that moment, when the interviewer looked at him, when he felt the weight of that question, Rafi opened his mouth and nothing came out. Complete silence for 12 seconds.
12 seconds of silence in a job interview. That must have felt like 12 years.
Exactly. And the worst part? He didn't get the job. Not because he didn't know English, not because he wasn't qualified, not because he wasn't smart or capable or ready, but because fear took over. And that fear, that silence, it cost him the opportunity he had worked so hard for.
And here's the thing. If you're watching this right now and thinking, that sounds familiar, you are not alone. This happens to millions of English learners every single day, in classrooms, in offices, in airports, at restaurants, in meetings, everywhere. The person who knows the answer but can't raise their hand. The employee who has a great idea but can't speak up in the meeting. The student who understands everything but freezes during the oral exam.
Fear is not a sign that you are bad at English. Fear is a sign that you care about doing well. And caring is not weakness. It's the beginning of growth. Rafi's story is not a story about failure. It's a story about what happens when fear has no name. Today, we profiled. And when you fight it, we K, Sophie.
So let's get into it. Why do people stay silent? What's really happening in the brain when we freeze in an English conversation? Because I think a lot of people assume it's laziness, or lack of practice, or maybe just shyness. But it feels like there's something deeper going on.
Great question. And I want to give a real, honest, useful answer. Not just, you need more practice. Because that advice, while not wrong, isn't enough. Telling someone who is afraid of heights to just go higher doesn't help. The real reason has 3 layers, and each one is important.
3 layers. Okay, let's go, one by one.
When you speak English, especially in front of others, a native speaker, a boss, a stranger, even a friend, a part of your brain activates automatically. Scientists call it the threat response, or the fight or flight response. Your brain starts asking dangerous questions. What if I make a mistake? What if people laugh? What if I say the wrong word? What if my accent is too strong? What if they think I'm stupid? And the moment any of those thoughts appear, your mouth closes. Automatically, instantly, without you even deciding to stop.
So it's almost like a built-in protection mechanism. The brain is trying to protect you from embarrassment, like a shield.
Exactly. And this is really important to understand. Your brain is not your enemy. It loves you. It is genuinely trying to help you. But it's helping you in the wrong way. It's activating a survival response for a situation that is not actually dangerous. Nobody is going to attack you if you make a grammar mistake. Nobody is going to lock you in a room if you mispronounce a word. But your brain doesn't know that. Your brain treats social judgment the same way it treats physical danger. And so, it makes you freeze.
That's actually fascinating and slightly terrifying.
Right? But knowing this is powerful. Because once you understand why your brain is doing this, you can start to retrain it. You can start to show your brain, hey, this conversation is safe. This is not a lion. This is just a person. And even if I make a mistake, I will survive.
What's layer 2?
The perfectionism trap. And this one lives in so many English learners, especially the hardworking, dedicated ones. These are the people who study the most but speak the least. Why? Because they have this deeply held belief. I will speak when my English is perfect. I will open my mouth when I am ready. I will join the conversation when it am confident enough. But's the hard, uncomfortable truth that nobody says out loud. Perfect English does not exist. It next has. It never will. Even native speakers make mistakes. Even published authors use incorrect grammar. Even professors say the wrong word sometimes. Even news anchors stumble over their sentences.
And yet, we hold ourselves, as English learners, to a standard that native speakers themselves don't hold themselves to. That's an impossible standard.
Precisely. You are waiting for a level of English that will never come. Because perfection is not a destination, it of a moving target. And while you wait, Life passes. Opportunities pass. Friendships don't get made. Promotions don't get earned. Conversations that could have changed your life, they pass. The perfectionism trap is not protecting you, it of imprisoning you. It is keeping you silent in a world that is waiting to hear what you have to say.
That's honestly a little heartbreaking when you say it like that. Because the very people who care the most, the hardest workers, are the ones most trapped by this.
Yes, and that's why we're talking about it. Because awareness is the first step to breaking free.
What's the third layer?
The translation habit. This is the one that catches most people off guard because it doesn't feel like a problem. It feels like a process. Most learners, especially if you're Bengali speaking, Hindi speaking, Arabic speaking, or from any non-English background, when you want to say something in English, what do you do first? Be honest.
You think in your native language first. You form the sentence in your head in Bengali or Hindi or whatever your first language is. And then you try to translate it into English.
Yes, and that process, that internal translation, is the third silent killer. Because translation takes time. Real-time conversation does not wait. While you are busy running your sentence through your mental translation engine, building it word by word, checking it, adjusting it, the conversation has already moved forward. 3 more sentences have been said. The moment has passed, and now you feel left behind. So you stay silent, not because you didn't know what to say, but because by the time you were ready to say it, it was too late.
And this becomes a habit, a default response. I couldn't find the right translation in time, so I said nothing. Repeated 100 times, 1,000 times, until silence becomes the default.
Exactly. And the antidote is not to translate faster. The antidote is to stop translating altogether, to begin thinking in English directly, even if it's slow at first, even if it's imperfect. Because thinking in English and speaking in English creates a kind of fluency that translation never can.
So let's say it clearly. The silence is not laziness. It is fear, perfectionism, and the translation habit, all happening at the same time, all reinforcing each other, all keeping you quiet. Okay, Sophie, let's do something practical. I think our audience has been listening really carefully and they understand the problem on a thinking level. But I want them to see it, feel it, really understand the difference in the body, not just in the mind. Can we do a short role play?
Absolutely. And audience, I want you to watch this very carefully. We are going to do the exact same conversation twice. Same words from Liam, same situation. The only thing that changes is my mindset. Version 1, the fear version. Version 2, the confidence version. Let's go.
Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been?
I am fine, thank you.
That's good. So, what have you been up to lately?
Nothing special.
Really? Nothing? Are you working on anything interesting?
Not really, just normal things.
Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been?
Oh, I've been good. Actually, pretty busy, but your way. I've been working on improving my English, which honestly feels really exciting right now. How about you? It's been ages.
That's great. I love that. What are you doing to improve it?
So I found this amazing podcast series. It's called Speak English with Learn. Sophie and Liam are the hosts, and they really break things down in a way that of I having sense, of studying. It's been really helpful.
That sounds amazing. I might have to check that out.
You totally should. Honestly, it's changed the way I think about speaking English. Less stress, more confidence.
Okay, so audience, did you notice what changed between version 1 and version 2? Her English wasn't suddenly perfect in version 2. She didn't have a larger vocabulary. She didn't speak faster. But the energy was completely different. The confidence was different. The willingness to engage, to be present, was different.
That's the whole point. And I want you to hear this clearly. People do not remember whether your grammar was perfect. They do not go home and say, "Wow, she used the past perfect tense correctly." They remember how you made them feel. A confident, warm, engaged communicator, even with imperfect English, will always connect better, be remembered more, and make a deeper impression than a silent, grammatically perfect person who never speaks.
Say that again, Sophie. That's too important to miss.
Your imperfect English, spoken with confidence and warmth, is worth 1,000 perfect sentences you never said. Say it, practice it, believe it.
All right, we've looked at the problem from every angle. We've named the fear. We've seen the role play. Now I'm ready for solutions. Real solutions. Not watch more English movies. Actual shifts in thinking. What are the mindset changes someone needs to make?
Perfect. I have 3. And I want to be clear. These are not tricks. These are not shortcuts. These are not motivational posters. These are fundamental shifts in the way you think about the English language, about yourself as a speaker, and about what communication actually is. Are you ready?
Ready.
Shift number 1. From I must be perfect to I must be understood. Say it out loud right now. My only job when speaking English is to be understood. That's it. That is the entire job description of a communicator. Not to impress, not to sound like a BBC news anchor, not to get a grammar score of 100%, not to prove anything to anyone. Just be understood. The moment you genuinely accept this as your goal, so much pressure disappears. The tension in your chest loosens. Your mouth opens more easily. Your brain relaxes.
And honestly, when you think about it from the listener's perspective, they're not sitting there with a red pen marking your mistakes. They're just trying to understand what you mean. They want to know your story. They want to know your ideas. They want to connect with you.
Exactly right. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop trying to be perfect and start focusing on being understood, your English actually gets better. You speak more. You take more risks. You experiment with words. You get feedback from real conversations. And that is how fluency is built. Not in silence, not in textbooks, in conversation. Real, imperfect, living conversation. So give yourself permission today to be imperfect. Your imperfect English spoken with confidence is worth more than you know. Shift number 2. From what if I fail to what will I learn? Because the fear of failure in English is actually just the fear of learning. And learning, real learning, requires mistakes. There is no other path.
Think about a baby learning to walk. A toddler, small, wobbly, determined. They fall down 50 times a day. They trip over nothing. They sit down hard on the floor and sometimes cry. Does the baby stop and say, "I'm terrible at walking. I should never try again. Walking is not for me"? No. They fall, they sometimes laugh, they sometimes cry for 30 seconds, and then they get right back up and try again. Every single time.
So the next time you make a mistake in English, and you will, I promise you will, every day. Instead of feeling shame, instead of going quiet, instead of deciding to never speak again, ask yourself one question. What did I just learn? Maybe you learned a new word. Maybe you learned how a sentence structure works. Maybe you learned that a certain phrase doesn't land the way you thought it would. Every mistake is a lesson. Every error to information. Every embarrassing moment is a story you will laugh about later.
That one shift from "what if I fail" to "what will I learn" genuinely changes your entire relationship with the English language. English stops being a test you can fail. It becomes a journey you are on.
Beautifully said. And journeys have no failure. And the third shift. This is perhaps my favorite. From I am speaking English to I am having a conversation. These similar. They are not. They are worlds apart.
What's the difference?
When you tell yourself, I am speaking English, your brain enters performance mode immediately. You become an actor on a stage. You start self-monitoring in real time. Is this sentence correct? Am I using the right tense? Is my pronunciation okay? Do I sound fluent? Am I making sense? You are no longer in the conversation. You are watching yourself from the outside, judging your own performance. And that self-monitoring, that internal surveillance, it kills the conversation. It kills the connection. It creates the very awkwardness you were trying to avoid.
But when you tell yourself, "I am having a conversation," something completely different happens.
Everything shifts. A conversation is not a performance. A conversation is a gift you give to another person. It is about them. It is about listening. It is about asking questions. It is about sharing. It is about being present. When you focus on the other person, when you become genuinely curious about them, genuinely interested in what they are saying, your brain stops monitoring your grammar and starts engaging with the human being in front of you. And in that moment, fear goes down, fluency goes up, and something truly beautiful happens. You actually enjoy the conversation.
Stop performing English. Start having conversations.
Precisely. Language is a tool for human connection. The moment you use English as a tool, instead of treating it as the goal itself, everything becomes easier, more natural, and more joyful.
Sophie, before we close, I want to make sure our audience walks away with something they can do today. Not next week, not when their English improves, not someday, today. What's the one practical thing?
Yes, and I love this question because action is everything. Mindset shifts are important, but they need a practice to make them real. So, here is your daily practice. It is called the 30-second rule, and it is beautifully, almost insultingly simple.
Tell us.
Every single day, just once a day, find one moment where you speak English out loud for 30 seconds. That's it. 30 seconds. Less than half a minute. You could talk to yourself in front of the bathroom mirror while you're getting ready. You could leave yourself a voice note on your phone describing what you did today. You could sit by your window and describe everything you see: the street, the sky, the people walking by. You could record a 30-second summary of a movie you watched. You could tell the story of your day to a stuffed animal, to your pet, to an empty chair. It doesn't matter who listens. It matters if nobody listens. What matters is that you listen to yourself speaking English.
And the key rule, the most important rule of the 30-second rule, is that you don't judge it. You don't correct it. You don't listen back and criticize yourself. You don't compare yourself to anyone. You just do it.
Exactly. Because right now, and I want you to really hear this, right now, you are a stranger to your own English voice. You have heard yourself think in English, maybe, but you have not heard yourself speak in English enough to feel comfortable with the sound of your own voice speaking this language. And that unfamiliarity, that strangeness creates fear. Things that don't recognize feel dangerous, that of human nature. But the 30-second rule fixes this. Slowly, gradually, day by day, your English voice becomes familiar to you. It becomes yours. It's so the 30-second rule doesn't build speaking skill. It builds belonging, a sense of this as quiet now. I belong in this conversation. Perfectly said. And 30 seconds becomes 60 seconds next week. And 60 seconds becomes 3 minutes. And 3 minutes becomes a real conversation with a real person. And that conversation changes something in you forever.
I want to say something before we close. Something important. Something I mean with my whole heart. And I want you to really hear this. Not just listen, but actually hear it.
Go ahead, Liam.
If you have been silent in classrooms, in interviews, in conversations, in meetings, in restaurants, at airports, at family gatherings where foreigners were present, if you have been silent for months, for years, maybe for most of your life, I want you to know something. It was never because you were stupid. It was never because you were not good enough. It was never because English was not for you. It was fear. Just fear. A completely understandable, completely human, completely changeable emotion. And fear is not a life sentence. Fear is not your identity. Fear can change. You can change. You are changing right now by listening to this.
You took the first step today by watching this episode, and I want you to understand how significant that is. A lot of people, millions of people, feel exactly what you feel. That same silence, that same freeze, that same wish that words would just come. But most of them never look for answers. They just accept the silence as their truth. You didn't. You looked. You searched. You found this. And That act of seeking means that you are ready.
And we want to be here with you on this journey. Every single episode in this playlist was made with one person in mind, someone exactly like you, someone who has things to say, someone who is ready to say them, someone who just needs a safe space, the right guidance, and the knowledge that they are not alone.
Drop a comment below. Tell us honestly. When do you feel most silent in English? We read every comment. Your story matters. Like this video if even one thing today made you think differently about yourself or your English. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And watch episode 2 right after this. It's called You're Not Bad at English, You're Just Afraid. Trust us, you need it. It goes even deeper.
From Liam, keep speaking, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, even when the words don't come out right, even when you feel embarrassed, keep going. Every word you say in English is a small act of courage. Honor it.
From Sophie. Remember this always. Your voice matters. Not someday when your English is better. Not eventually when you feel ready. Right now. The world needs to hear what you have to say. It needs your perspective, your story, your ideas. In English, in your accent, in your beautiful, imperfect way. Say it. We'll with you every step of the way.
Silence may feel like the safe choice, but speaking imperfectly, bravely, honestly, that is where real progress lives.
Take good care of your English, everyone.
And take good care of your confidence. This is Liam.
And this is Sophie. You've been listening to Speak English with Learn. See you in the next episode.